Anish, bishop h4, amazing move.
Yeah, it was very satisfying to play that move, and I'm happy with today's game because it was a very pretty idea, and also with my yesterday's game where I managed to find one very nice idea with a3 in the endgame, which maybe was not even the best move, but it's always nice to not only win a game but to find some nice, beautiful idea, and then you get some extra satisfaction from it.
But bishop h4, had you seen it in advance, or how early had you seen it? When he played e4, or?
No, I mean e4 felt very wrong to me. I thought he was going to go bishop e5 back, and I thought I'm very comfortable, but I was not able to see a way to, to find any advantage. I was thinking about bishop e5, bishop f8 back, take, e4, and then I felt I might be slightly better with h3, h6 included somehow, but I didn't really see how, and I was quite worried about that. But after e4, I felt I had many options. I think even if I go just d4 simply, this type of position should be fine for me, and with some counterplay and counter chances. So I was already happy about that, and also I was considering to take everything on e4 because even there I have some small winning chances. But then I noticed this move knight h5, and then I get a much better version of d4 positions. Yeah, to be honest, even when I played knight h5, well, it was clear to me that I have a very good position and I have a better version of d4. But I think I was planning to go queen g6, bishop d2, d3. And then I noticed somewhere after knight h5, when I played knight h5, that after d3 he has queen d1, attacking my h5 knight, so I'm not winning the e4 pawn immediately. And then I think when I was choosing between queen g6 and alternatives, I found this move bishop h4. And I was not 100% sure that it works, because in general I tend not to trust my attacking instincts because they're not very good. But I thought, even if it is not winning, it gives me a lot of play, and I felt it's a very good practical chance. And as things turned out, it was simply an objectively good move as well. So that's
yes. When you
nice.
play bishop h4, it seems like white has many options now, but none of them work. So when you do that, do you like discount all the moves for white, or you just go by intuition?
Well, in fact, you have to calculate obviously when you try to hang a piece, but in fact it's not so difficult to calculate because I'm threatening to take on e4, and when I take on e4, I create the pin along the g file. So I'm threatening to take bishop e4, and then my bishop is not hanging at all, and he has only two moves to protect his e-pawn, either rook a1 or c1 or fe1, and in both cases I just take on g3 with the knight and with the bishop, and I immediately regain a lot of material. So in fact, when I played bishop h4, I don't even think I was doubting much because, at first it feels like maybe I missed something, but then it's quite simple to calculate. So, it's a move you can easily miss, and it's always nice to find, despite it not being that difficult.
Well, when you play players who are around, say, 2450, 2500, this range, they often make moves to get, let's say today, the square on c4. They give so much importance to it that they miss some of the finer nuances in the position, like tactics. Did it happen to you when you were at that range, or that?
Well, it always happens because chess players, they learn from books and from their own games, and we know the importance of certain strategic elements like weak square or good bishop. And as you become stronger, you sort of learn about exceptions from the rules, and this is also one of these exceptions, that the c4 square is not the end of the world. And some players who have more experience in the structure would realize that, let's say, e4 is a dubious move and some others not, and it's just a matter of experience, and eventually. But top players also miss such stuff regularly. I mean, it's only the chess engine that's able to combine all the strategy and tactics together and give you a number, which is like minus 0.62. But we see, square, pair, all kinds of static things, and we try to calculate. But of course, some rely more on intuition, some on calculation. But I think that top players, they have. In general and on average, a much broader overview of the standard positions, and are able to judge these things better. But as I said, not as well as the engine still.
Well, yesterday you played an opponent who was around 2300, today 2450. What happens is the best moves that you consider for them are often not made. Does it happen that you start to drop in level if you continuously keep playing such opponents who are not very strong?
No, I don't think so. you can play these games sort of against your opponent and try to just beat him and feel good about yourself. Well, you can also try to go to the game with the goal of playing a good game. And nowadays it's very easy to check afterwards. You don't even need to analyze. You can just check with the computer. And I find it always very, very nice when I play a very good game of high quality, like the last 2 days. And I find it very satisfying. And honestly, I don't care if opposite me is Vishanand or my grandmother. I mean, as long as I played well. Of course, it is. Of course, you don't get much satisfaction from games when it was a very easy one-sided game. You know, if let's say they give you a piece on move 2, then of course you're going to make good moves. But when you are challenged, I feel today I was challenged, and I mean, I found many moves which I think I would have struggled to find even against good players. I mean, I'm proud of my decisions on knight h5 and bishop h4, so I'm able to enjoy these games. And unlike some of my colleagues who prefer to rest, you know, first few rounds, I enjoy playing well, and I see it still as a challenge. And my colleagues as well know, obviously, that you can always mess it up. Otherwise, of course, they would come and pick up the points. They know that there's a lot of pressure, and it can happen that, for example, yesterday I saw a brilliant game of a Nepali player against Aman Hamilton from Canada. And I mean, yeah, I don't know, if you look at the game, and I saw it afterwards, it was a flawless game. And occasionally it happens that a much lower rated player, in fact much weaker player as well, has a fantastic day, and sometimes by accident finds good moves, sometimes on purpose, and it all comes together. So there's always risk of that happening, so I think it's quite challenging to play also lower rated opponents. I don't see any shame in that.
And from what you said, I felt like you have this Rubinstein's quote in your mind. When he was asked, whom are you going to play tonight, he said, I'm going to play against the black pieces, something like that. So you are more focused on the position than on the opponent?
Well, obviously when I choose my opening, I take that a lot into account, because, for example, there are certain lines I play, and if I see that my opponent against these lines is going for something that I know I'm going to show him how I equalize, and it will just peter into a very dry position, I will try to avoid that. So obviously it affects me very much before the game in my opening choice, because I think it's very crucial to have a right choice of opening, because if you choose opening stupidly, then you might not be able to show your superiority against a weaker opponent. Of course, if you play a much weaker opponent, then regardless what happens, you win. But if you play an opponent like I played today, who is experienced and theoretical master, who is also very well aware of theory, because I think he was an editor of Quality Chess, and he's edited all these opening books. So then I mean, you know, sometimes if you trade everything and there's a rook end game, okay, he's going to make these moves, and because he's an international master. So it affects me a lot when I choose my opening, and occasionally some choices as well during the game. But not that I on purpose make a bad move, is that, let's say, somewhere I choose for a more complicated option. Yeah, let's say also yesterday, I mean, sometimes, yeah, I make a certain decision, taking that into account a little bit, but I never, let's say I never try to make a bad move, no. If I think that there are two more or less equal alternatives, then sometimes I choose one, sometimes the other. But if I see one move is clearly better than the other, most likely I will do that.
That's an important piece of advice. When we look at the Dutch team, let's say you sitting on board 1, extremely strong. You go to board 2, Erwin Lamy, who's very well, who's played many strong events, very strong. Then you go to board 3 again, Van Velde, who's very experienced. Then you have Tibiako, again a very experienced player, very solid. He had once a streak of 110 games without a loss. And then you have this youngster, Jordan Van Forest. It seems like a very formidable team.
Yeah, but it's all relative. I mean, obviously they're good, but if you compare them to Russian players, I mean, with all due respect to my teammates, I mean, there are different degrees of good, you know. You can, there's a grandmaster who is also very strong, you know, for 99.999 chess players. He's an absolute idol. But then you have a stronger grandmaster, and then you have a stronger grandmaster. So Dutch team is, relatively speaking, yeah, relatively strong, relatively weak, depending who you compare it with. I mean, if we face India, you know, I play Vishy Anand, for example, there's no clear favorite there. Then there will be a game of an Indian 2700 player, Hare Krishna, against Erwin Lamy. And Hare Krishna is 100 points high rated. Then Virit is 100 points high rated, then Luke. Then one more guy is going to be 100 points. And then suddenly it seems like our team is very weak. It's just all a matter of looking at it. And I mean, yeah, when I play, for example, every team member of Indian team or Russian team or American team, I find it a very serious challenge myself. Yeah, we have, as I said, great players, but yeah, relatively, it's all relative. I don't think we are. Normally speaking, we are not fighting for medals. I mean, obviously we are fighting for medals, but if everything goes as it should go, we are not favorites to get any medal. So, but as you mentioned, indeed, experienced players, and so it's a pleasure to be part of such team that you know at least that you can expect some level of from these players, and you can expect that on a good day they are able to beat anybody.
So, but the main motivation for you is to keep making good moves and play good games here.
Yeah, well, for me, result is very, very important. But during the game, I try to focus on good moves, and then at least, if I would have made a draw today, but I played good moves, I would be a lot more happier than if I'd missed a chance to make a draw. So for me, it's both. I mean, the result is most important, but if the result is bad, at least I want that moves were good.
Right. And we want to ask you about the top 4 teams here. That's Russia, USA, China, India, and also, let's say, Azerbaijan. Yeah, these 5 teams. Who do you see, and how do you analyze which one is the favorite here?
Well, it's very hard to say. I mean, Russian team in general consists of very, very solid, strong players. I feel intuitively that, let's say, American team, this board, okay, they have 3 absolute top players, and they have Shankland, who has yet to prove himself as a top player. And I feel, because he is new to the scene, to the top chess, to the 2700 club, so to speak, I feel he's a little bit vulnerable. So I feel, let's say, if you play America, you have this feeling like, they have this sort of a weak, how it's called, this ring in a chain, yeah?
A chink in the armor, yeah.
Yeah, he's a weak link, is the word, yeah. He's sort of a weak link, and he's, let's say, stronger than all of our players in my team. But still, when you have one player who is clearly a weak link, it gives you some confidence going into the match. And I think when facing Russia, it's a lot harder, for example, mentally, because you're thinking, hey, where are we going to win, Is Sergei Tivyakov, who is a veteran of Barcelona, is he actually, but is going to beat Yakovenko? I mean, I've never beaten Yakovenko. How is he going to beat Yakovenko? Especially that Sergei is no longer at his peak. I mean, at his peak, Sergei was a top player, but now he dropped a little bit. And in that regard, yeah, I feel the Shankland is quite shaky. And in Indian team, well, Adiban is a wild card, a sparkling wit, as Vish's Twitter account said. He's a shaky player. Azerbaijan is a crazy team. I mean, you remember there were some events where Mamedov was winning everything. This European, I think it was like, I don't know, 9 out of 10 type of score. Yeah, I mean, as playing, I mean, I'm very jealous of all these teams because they have such great players on all the boards, and as I said already, playing against each one of them for me is a very big challenge. But yeah, it actually will all come down to chance, It will come down to real
China.
games. Yeah, no, China is actually usually stronger than individually, stronger as a team than individually. I mean, there are many players like Busenji that we don't hear much through the year, but they are there, 2700s. But then when they come here, suddenly it's all one big team, and suddenly if one guy is winning, the other guys are somehow making a draw. If some guy is losing, then some other guy is winning. If they're under pressure here, they are putting pressure there. It's like one big wave, that is like, it's one body somehow, like you see the match, I've experienced that, you see the match, you see some board is doing badly, and then suddenly draw happens, like somehow naturally. Or then you see you're good on one board, then the other Chinese starts to turn into a monster, They really take match situation into account, but in a good way. For many people it will be disturbing, but for them it's very natural. They also have, I think as a communist country probably, they have the natural feeling of unity, as Soviet Union used to have. Since childhood you read these books, these slogans, and it gives you the feel of unity, I imagine. I mean, I'm not a sociologist or whatever, but I imagine that helps as well. And I remember Dingliren wrote somewhere in New Chess, I think, that playing next to Chinese flag, because he's board 1, playing next to the Chinese flag gives him wings, Okay, I mean, that's wonderful for you, if that's what happens to you. So each team is interesting, but what it will come down to is some individual matches. Nakamura is going to find a novelty against Vityugov maybe, and then Vityugov will make a small inaccuracy and then he will win. And I mean, it will all come down to just individual little nuances. But at the start, all the teams are just very strong and very hard to say. Very hard to say who is amongst this team a favorite. But it's great for ChessBase India that India is stronger than ever.
Yes, thank you. And finally, I wanted to ask you, because you played a 960 match recently, what's your opinion on 960 chess? Did you enjoy it? Did you feel like, yes, there is a scope here, we can have more 960 events?
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. Well, there were first 2 days I didn't play very well, and then I didn't enjoy that fact, but I still enjoyed the actual game. And last 2 days I played much better, so then I enjoyed it more thoroughly. Yeah, I think it was a very interesting experience. Top players are all, happy to try it out, because when we play each other, we already know what openings to expect. It's all similar openings. You try constantly to find new ideas. Sometimes you don't find them, sometimes you do, and yeah, it's all a bit of a similar routine, and it is fun, and we all enjoy that. And it's by no means that classical chess is dead or whatever, but yeah, it's an interesting new thing, and it's still chess. Although I find the castling, the fact that you can castle like from c1 to g1, that makes it. I feel still it's variant on chess. It cannot be chess when you see the position, and suddenly Kasparov plays king c1, g1, and rook f1. That is not chess, because you see the position, the king has to be on e1, rook on h1, then you castle, yeah. But so I feel it's still a bit of a variant on chess, only because of the castling. Placement of the pieces makes it just random, but it's a fun game. I just heard that not all amateurs are equally enthusiastic, because for them, real chess is chess 960. For them, this is complicated enough. They don't have enough overview of openings anyway. Top players, they already know, more or less the main lines in Najdorf and Petrov in the Berlin, what Caro-Kann is about. But the amateur, for him, it's all new. For him, real chess is chess 960, and then you throw him into the chess 960 world, and he's completely lost. So I heard from some amateurs that they find it, and also you have a lot of books and material and DVDs and on openings, and they study and they they study Najdorf because their big hero is Garry Kasparov. He played many example games. They study the rook sacrifice on c3. And then once all the ChessBase DVDs that you sell with discount, all of them are completely useless suddenly. So yeah, it's hard to say, but I find it fun to play, and I hope, and I'm pretty sure from the reaction that Rex Singfold had and the people at the St. Louis Chess Club, that they're going to host more events, at least the same event next year, perhaps slightly different format, but I think they were enthusiastic. So there's going to be more of that, and it's nice to see, and it's also good to see if there will be more of such events, if the public will also start appreciating them more.
And we have been asking this question to everyone, and also want to ask you, is what do you think has been the contribution of ChessBase to your chess career, sort of, and to chess in general?
You mean the software or the...
Yes, the software or in general.
Well, they have the software that you really need. I think the only concurrent is the Russian company ChessOK or Convect. I don't know if it's one or... they have a software which is very similar to ChessBase. And in fact, as far as I know, and I've used it a little bit, it is not much worse, objectively speaking. It is a little bit unusual interface. Because I'm used to ChessBase. But I heard, I was very surprised recently, I found out a top player who uses the other one, the Russian chess player actually. So such software would be essential, and I use ChessBase since an early age. Maybe had I been given the other one, I would have used that. But yeah, ChessBase is doing that very well. The software occasionally has these bugs that we are all loving, and all used to. But I think they should be a little faster removing them, because it's been already like. But okay, the software is good enough. As for ChessBase in general, I met Frederick when I was little, and Frederick is always very clever, trying to spot young kids at the early age, trying to help them out so that he becomes friends with them forever. So he's done that to me, and I'm grateful forever. No, but in fact, he gave me an opportunity to speak to Vishy Anand, and I remember he once hooked me up on Skype with Levon Aronian, and he helped me probably to get in touch with Vishy when I helped him for the matches before, and also I was annotating some games for ChessBase, which inevitably helped me. So yeah, it seemed that the efforts of Frederick and the software they have is, I mean, it's definitely essential and useful. And yeah, I guess it's normal that they are sort of more or less monopoly, because if you think also of Microsoft Word, for example, it is also Word, you know, the software, Excel and so on. They also pretty much, I mean, there is this free version. They pretty much monopolized it, and nobody seems to worry, so I guess it's okay. And they should work on a bug, for example, that when the internet goes off, the message that, you know, you cannot access online database, it keeps on popping up like once, two times, and if you left your home, like you get like 15 of these messages, you have to click OK. Then you click OK, then one more comes up, you click OK. So that should be fixed, but if they fix that, and if it's, you know, I mean, but they already, I mean, you already have, for example, it backs up your analysis every 10 minutes, so they've done some things too, and it's a good software, but I mean, there are always things to work on.
Thank you so much for your time and this wonderful interview, and we wish you good luck for the remaining games.
Thank you.